G'day everyone, it's TNick back here with some more Fallout 4 action for you. Hold on. What do you mean it's transport fever? Oh, whoop, just quick, roll the mission.
The land of opportunity. They're calling it the Great Depression. The whole country is groaning under this huge economic crisis, under poverty and unemployment. The entire country? No sirree, Bob. In the Gulf region of the sunny South, black gold is bubbling incessantly out of the earth and is protecting the people from hardship. Well, at least those lucky enough to be sitting directly on top of an oil well. High time we became active in the crude oil industry ourselves. Oil is the best lubricant for our operations.
Yeehaw!
It's the 30s on the Gulf of Mexico. The Great Depression still hasn't passed, and we need to prevent President Franklin D. Roosevelt from plunging our beautiful country into socialist ruin. Let's prove that private ownership of production facilities still generates the most wealth, and that a self-regulating market is still the best way to go. Let's save capitalism. Extraordinary times call for extraordinary measures. Let's expand our area of operation. Let's become part of the oil industry ourselves and invest our profits in even more oil for the good of the country. This crisis is our opportunity.
Yeah, of course, we're doing it for the good of the country, not for the good of our own bank balance. Not that I'm complaining, because I'm the direct beneficiary of an increased bank balance. As usual, 5 medals can be earned in this mission. Finish the mission before 1955, that gives us 25 years, that's not too bad. For the good of the economic upswing, make sure that your wealth never exceeds 75 million. They obviously haven't seen me play this game before. I'm sure I can get 75 million in debt. Process crude oil from all the wells located on the land. I'm assuming there's one out at sea then. Ensure the journey along the Houston to New Orleans route takes a maximum of 5 minutes, assuming we'll be building a passenger train. And import at least 6,000 goods via the port in Houston, which I'm assuming is this fella here. Shall we start the mission? Nah, let's just look at this screen for a while.
Splendid! We've gotten our hands on a few decent plots. Not that the land is much to look at, it's what lies beneath that we're particularly interested in. We'll pump the crude oil reserves slumbering underground to the surface, process it into fuel, and transport it overseas from the port in Houston. Additionally, there's another lucrative business we can get involved in at the port. Goods from all over the world are just waiting for a forwarding agent to bring them to the people. We know all about that.
Being a transport company, we know how to transport stuff. Before wells are drilled, their output is unknown. There is a solution to this problem in Houston. Take a look around there. Yeah, that's Houston. Well done. Oh, here we go. We got a question mark.
Our business is developing splendidly. The stupid thing is that you never know in advance just how much crude oil there is in one place. You need to drill first, and that is terribly expensive. A company in Beaumont has developed a method of reliably predicting how much crude oil can be pumped from one area and whether drilling is worthwhile at all. We could purchase a license to use the said technology, but it's not exactly cheap.
Okay, just so we're clear, our business is developing splendidly. We've done literally nothing except click on a question mark. So yeah, things are going well. So if we were to pay $15 million, we would be able to find out what the volume of all these wells are. Now, it's $3 million to drill each well, and there are 9 wells available, so that's 27 million. So if we were to drill them all right now, that'd give us 3 million to set up our operation. However, if we spend half of our bank balance just finding how much oil there is, well, it doesn't really leave us much money to actually exploit it. So I'm going to run the risk. I mean, we gambled a heck of a lot in that poker game in the last part, so let's just see how we go. I made a decision and I have been rewarded for that. Okay, so there's the refinery. I've accidentally clicked on that. And here is the port. So contrary to what it shows here, it accepts fuel, just accepts fuel, and it produces goods on its own bat. So that's good. We don't actually turn fuel into goods. We can draw goods out of there without having to produce any fuel. Now this highway interchange up at the oil refinery is going to be a pain in the butt. I said butt. So we are going to need to do something about that. Hope no one minds if I demolish the entire highway. No, they mind. No, they've got the shits. Okay, good to know. Good to know. Well, while we're blowing shit up, let's just smash all that aside. And shall we put down sort of a whiz-bang train station here? Now the length of that station there is longer than that. 240? Yes, okay, so we'll make our station long enough that we can run the maximum length of train. We don't want overhead wires, thank you very much. And let's just sort of plop him in there. Right, now we need to reconnect this highway or everyone will get pooey with us. So if we connect that up, it won't like that. What if we do this? Doesn't like that. Doesn't like that either. Oh, I see. I think we're I think we might just be clipping a bit through the bottom of this the doodad, the what do you call it? The oil refinery. It's possibly what it's called. That's a pretty saucy looking bridge. What's the difference between the two bridges? Okay, the other bridge is more expensive and uglier. So let's just keep on keeping on. What are you complaining about now? Houston and Dallas are no longer connected. Oh, whoops, because I sort of smashed apart the highway up here too. Yeah, that's on me, guys. I'm sorry. We'll just run this right around the back of the current oil refinery region. And we probably need to connect this road up from the port, just for completeness sake. However, we will run our railway through first. I don't want overhead wires. Naff off. Let's just see what that's going to cost us. Well, it doesn't look too bad as far as the terrain goes, although there's a bit of a hump. Although I think the terrain sort of naturally, I nearly said naturally humps its way through, but that would have been weird, so I'm glad I didn't say it. I just did say it. Something was said. Or we could just actually run this road, boogly boo, shibbity whoop, over there. There we go. Now everyone is happy. Right. Okay, so now that we've got our oil refinery connectorized, we've got a couple of wells over in San Antonio. They look fairly easy pickings. What's the train like? Yeah, it's pretty straight. We could even just run a train into sort of the town area and have a hub bring the oil in by trucks. Because I want to run mixed trains. I want to put goods and fuel on the trains and transport that into town as well. I know we're supposed to be exporting the fuel, but we get paid the same either way, and well, if it gives us more profit in the short term, we can expand to bigger operations in the long term. Now Dallas, 2 wells up there. Got what, 3, 4, 5 wells between Dallas and Jackson. Whoop, that'd be, woo. I've lost count now. What do we have in New Orleans? Did I count that in the 5? 1, 2, 3, 4, 4. Yeah, okay. So we're sort of looking at 3 different train lines. One from Houston to San Antonio, one to Dallas, one to Jackson to try and catch all this business here. Well, might as well start off with the easy one first and head out towards San Antonio, and then we'll proceed on to Dallas. I'm going to get building. I will see you all shortly. Righto then, I have now connected up the refinery at Houston with the town of San Antonio. Now I've managed to get the station in sort of in the industrial area. So I've built this truck stop out here. We'll just have a service that ferries the goods out here just to capture the rest of this commercial district. And those same trucks will be able to bring oil into the station. And likewise, I have another terminal over here that I just realised we'll have to detour through town to get to this truck stop. But that shouldn't be too much of a problem. I might connect it up. If it is, we'll see how long-lived these oil wells are going to be. So first we need to start drilling.
This is where the black gold lies. Very kind of the dinosaurs that they have the good grace to die out and transform themselves into crude oil. Shall we start pumping?
I don't like the inflection he put on, shall we start pumping. But, okay.
Black gold is bubbling away here already. Hopefully we'll never run out. Otherwise we'll probably have to breed new dinosaurs and then wait an eternity until they've transformed into crude oil.
Dinosaurs. Okay, so that one unfortunately only has 500. Let's have a bit of a squizzy at this one. Oh, sorry.
Black gold lies. Very kind of the dinosaurs that they have the good grace to die out and transform themselves into crude
buddy,
oil.
I think you said
Shall we
this bit
start
already.
pumping? You better believe it.
Okay, it's just...
Black gold is bubbling away here already.
Okay, shut up.
Hopefully we'll never run out. Otherwise, we'll probably have to breed new dinosaurs and then wait an eternity until they've transformed into crude oil.
Everyone laughed like it's the first time you've heard that joke. This one, not unfortunately, rather fortunately, has up to 1,000 available. So we should put down a truck stop. We should set up some lines and we should get going. Now you may notice a slight difference in the line screens. I have since updated to the latest patch for Transport Fever. They've made a number of improvements. I might highlight them as we go along if I notice them. So this first truck route will be full loading here with oil. Dropping it off at the station, and then if it picks up any goods, just having a quick swing by there on the way out again. Now you'll notice this sort of little diagram here that will show you if there's any problems. So for example, if I was to destroy this road here, it would highlight that the problem lies between San Antonio Holt and San Antonio West by turning that red, as well as turning red between San Antonio West and the branch, because it's basically now pinpointing where you can't complete your route, which is helpful for those of us that build trains and then manage to bugger things up later. So we'll call that San Antonio. Did I spell that right? It's literally right in front of me. I did. I guess we'll call it West, because it goes to San Antonio West. So the second line will come from here. It will swing by here, and it may as well stop in and drop off on the way. Actually, we'll make that drop off instead of this one, just because it's, well, it's en route anyway. And once again, we will have you full load at San Antonio East, and we'll call you San Antonio North. Yeah, can't see a problem with that. Yep, that seems fine. Okay, fine, I'll call it East. I know I can hear your rage from here. There we go, named after its loading point. Good, okay, we will buy a fleet of lorries to go on them. We'll go with the Ford Model 77, the upgrade from the Mack AC. Certainly not going to bother with that old steam lorry anymore. So we'll chuck 6 on each one. And the best thing about this is, if we ever run out of oil in these spots, which is quite likely at this one, we can always just divert the trucks down the highway system to go work for us somewhere else, shoring up another oil well somewhere. Or we can just sell them for cash, whatever, I don't care. And before we hit unpause, we will also build a train. First we will set up the train route. So you will be loading here at San Antonio Sidings, heading down to Houston. See, there we go, it's already found a bit of an issue. So what it's doing is it's saying I can't connect up on the way there, but I can connect up on the way back. That should hopefully sort itself out when we finish connecting it up to Houston Harbor Terminal. As you can see, the red has disappeared because it is now able to make a full return route. Obviously it couldn't come back here because I have not got the points set up for that to happen. We'll try and get you to full load at San Antonio Sidings, see how you go with that. Now, let's look at our train options. Once again, we have the Mogul, we have the Atlantic, we have the Mikado. That's an electric fella, so we won't be building one of them, not yet anyway. The Class 9000, probably a bit heavy haul for us. It's 8.7 million and haven't really gone up any significant hills. And we have our first diesel, the Alco HH series, which appears to be a shunting loco, or a quote-unquote switcher, as the Americans like to call them. I'm not an American, I don't like calling them switchers, we'll never say that word again. Switcher. Okay, it's fun to say. So I reckon the choice comes down to the Atlantic or the Mogul. Now the Atlantic is faster, less horsepower, but not by much really. It's only about 600 different. Significantly cheaper too. It's almost half price. Let's go with the Atlantic. Look, we can always upgrade it later. If you don't like it, what are you going to do? Just leave? Let's start with, say, 8 tank cars and 3 box cars, I guess. Oh no, that's right, we built the 240 meter station. I'll pump it all the way up to 240, I guess. No, we'll leave it reasonably short for now. I forgot to name the train line. Let's just call that San Antonio Railroad, because apparently we're using American terms now. Let's hit the play button and watch the magic happen. Ooh, all the magic's going to happen at once. A big position. There we go, look at this. Got a good view of both depots, including this one with its weird little kink in the track. It's almost like I planned it. I didn't, I'm not that smart. Well, this has been very exciting. Once again, we've managed to close the doors on the last wagon. Why break with tradition, fellas? So we will leave this operation to it. I will fast forward for the benefit of you folks at home. Yeah, we will come back shortly and see how things are going. Well, everything's costing money already. That's going well. Anyway, see you soon. Now, just as a bit of an aside, we're looking at Houston here. We've got a very large commercial district here. I'm thinking we might set up a sort of a supplementary truck route in from the port into Houston just to make a bit of cash that way on the goods deliveries. And one thing I forgot to do, which you probably all picked up on and I didn't, how are we supposed to transport fuel from the refinery back into town if we don't stop off there on the way back? So I've added in Houston Halt as a return stop for our train there. Yeah, but looking at Houston, if we can sort of drop a truck stop down somewhere in the middle of town, reasonably inexpensively, that will be a good way to get a bit of extra coin in our pockets. What's that going to cost me? Yeah, it's probably going to get a good catchment area. Yeah, see, there you go. That's going to catch most of the commercial district in the city. It's also going to have to deal with most of the traffic jam in the city, which sounds absolutely wonderful. Can we upgrade the streets to be... We can. Look at that. Okay, so now they're multi-lane roads. We'll just upgrade this one a little bit of a shortcut across. Oh, that is a large street. Okay, they weren't kidding. We'll just join that up there, just to hopefully save some of this traffic on the highway out of town, which we will address with our train, I'm assuming. Now, there is a truck stop provided for us, just like the station. So all we've got to do is plop down a depot and set up a line. So... Yep, from there to there, if you could try and full load, and we'll just call this Houston Goods Deliveries. It's challenging, but I got there. Let's pop a depot en route, if you will, and we'll get started on some trucks. 6 should do to start with. We can always put more on if we need it. Well, there we go, things are starting to set up nicely. The train has arrived and departed with almost a full load of oil. He's also brought in some goods which have been unloaded for transit into San Antonio Halt here just in town. Trucks continue to bring oil in, goods now coming in. I think we're on to a winner here, and we still have 10.5 million in the bank. Now, another easy sort of low-hanging fruit we can grab at here is a route from the port into Beaumont. So I might get about setting that up with some trucks as well. Now, I'm wary about bringing too much stuff out of Houston by truck just because it is such a small truck terminal. And yeah, there's no possibility to upgrade because there is this port in the way, which is slightly annoying. So we'll call you Beaumont. Beaumont? What did we call the other one? Houston Goods Deliveries. So we'll call you Good Dicta. I cannot type today. Everys. There we go. We got there in the end. That's the important thing. And we'll chuck 6 trucks on that one. Now I'm hoping some of the fuel might end up unloaded at the station, transferred to the truck terminal, and sent into town here for the industrial area. Got a couple of industrial buildings in the catchment here. We might get some up to Beaumont as well. But yeah, so if we do transport any goods or fuel to Lake Charles, New Orleans or Jackson, we will be opting to do that by train, just to ensure that we're not clogging up the road around the ports too much. Here comes our oil and goods train with a massive load of 1 fuel. But he is coming to pick up 34 goods, which is nice. Let's just put on the hyperspeed and watch our mighty train come in. And it's good to see we have a nice big station down here, so if you want to add more goods vans on, he still has plenty of capacity, but if we want to add more wagons on down the line, we can and will, you better believe it. Oh, and we've even got some fuel. Oh, that's waiting to go to the Houston terminal as well. Good to know. Well, we've still got some money burning a hole in our pocket, and as we know, this game likes to give you money hand over fist when you spend it all. So I think we look at expanding up towards, thanks autosave, up towards Dallas here.
This is where the
yak.
Black gold is
How much have we got here? 500. Oh, that was not a good investment. What about your other well?
This
1,000. Okay, so it's basically the same deal as San Antonio. Shut up! You keep saying the same thing over and over again.
Transformed into crude oil.
No one cares. So I reckon we just basically set up the same operation. We rail the oil from this well down into town, and we have trucks taking the goods into town and bringing it from this well over to the train station. So I'll get started with building that, and I'll see you back here shortly. Right, well that's the route built there. I've also put in a far more convenient and sensible depot down here near the oil refinery. Don't know why that didn't occur to me earlier. So we've run the line basically straight up here, and apart from a bit of ugly terrain, that's really ugly. What happened to the textures there? Can we fix that? No, sort of. It's just, no, still doesn't want to get fixed. No, still, okay, well there's another one. Okay, there we can do this. There we go, that's better. Yeah, so apart from this sort of ugly embankment-y thing, we've got the railway line in place. I will throw some truck stops down, and we'll set ourselves up a truck route as well. Now, to get the maximum benefit out of this truck route, we will again have to demolish a building. I'm thinking we sort of knock you aside, and hopefully that will let me connect it up. It does look like there's a bit of a, there we go, a bit of a slope there, but it has worked out for the best. So again, we will have the truck starting up here at the oil well, coming down here to drop the oil off, and then just swing back through town to pick up any fuel, to drop off rather, any fuel and goods they might be carrying. And we'll call that Dallas Buyers Club. Nope, that's not right. That's that pirated movie. We'll call it Dallas Deliveries, and we'll set up a train route in a similar fashion. This time we'll remember to add all of the stops in. So going from Lower Dallas down here to Houston Holt. Again, it's complaining it can't connect all stations. Note the red there. Into the train terminal and back out via Houston Holt. Won't send him to full load because he'll probably be bringing goods back. So yeah, we don't really need to wait around for oil if there's goods at the other end waiting to be transported. And we'll call that Dallas Railroad. And that gives us $4 million for a train. I don't think that will cover it, but hopefully this game decides to just gift us some money. No, not yet. I'm a little worried. How many?
The money is slipping through our fingers, people. We'll soon be bankrupt. But if we're prepared to grovel on our hands and knees, our financiers will grant us a bridge loan.
Thank you, game. What's that? 5, 6, 7, 8. And 1, 2, 3, 4. I think that's how we built the last train. It's important to remain consistent for reasons that elude me at this point, but, you know, consistency. So it's the train running. There's no point running a train without any trucks to deliver the goods, though. So another 6 of those on Dallas Deliveries. We can always add more if needed. And things should be underway. There goes the train storming out of the depot there. We've got a bit of fuel waiting for the other route, but none for this route yet, which makes sense. And have the goods started rolling in? Not just yet, although we do have a lot of things to deliver to Houston apparently, so I reckon we chuck another couple of trucks on there. Bugger off. Chuck you on Houston deliveries. Yes, it does look like Houston's going to be a bit of a thirsty town for the old goods and fuel. But good, now we have 2 trains in motion, we have 4 wells tapped, and we have $10 million in the bank. Now a bit of supplementary income, it might actually be worth building a train, a sort of a passenger train linking up these towns here. We can always use the railway line to transport goods further down the line as well. And we can also connect up these oil wells up here. Oh, we got 5 up here, that's not to be sniffed at. Now I'm thinking if we sort of run our mixed train all the way up here to Jackson, we can unload the goods there, truck them in, and ditto we can truck them into New Orleans from out here, which might be worth a look. But yeah, so if we run the train up here, we can sort of capture these wells quite easily, just with an oil train, and then yeah, run the mixed train all the way up to Jackson. What's the landscaping like out there? Okay, so it's not great. We've obviously got this water course here. Actually, speaking of water courses, I'm wondering if it's not worth actually trucking the oil down to a dock on the water, shipping it down by boats. Because then once we're here, we can run a train load of oil from here up to the refinery, and then he can then take additional fuel back. Yeah, I think that's probably going to be a lower cost option than building a dedicated railway all the way out, at least to these 3. These 2 we can probably tap into this planned railway we're going to build between Houston and New Orleans. Because, yeah, the idea of shipping it all the way around here seems a bit ludicrous. But I'm keen to give this a go, actually. Let's make sure the waters are navigable. Ooh, they might not be. We've got a bit of a gap here and here. We might not be able to run a ship down here. We can definitely get under that bridge. But, wondering, how much is a ship terminal going to cost us? Let's not build the passenger one. Okay, so we can't actually build it so the boat can get to it. Oh, here we go. The boat can get to it here. Okay, let's start with that. And let's just see if we can set up a line from here to here. No, okay, so it won't get through this narrow bit here. That is really frustrating. I had high hopes that we could do that on the cheap, and now we've just left sort of a bit of a hole in the land. Well, you'd never have to tell me twice, but trains it is. We can probably use most of this existing track if we can. What are you bitching about? Oh, well, you don't exist anymore, so yeah, bye. Yeah, so we can probably use the existing line up to Dallas and just sort of cut off here, following the contours of land down to this plot here. What are you willing to offer me in terms of oil? Hello? Nope. Still got the bulldozer out, that's why nothing's happening.
This is where the
yak.
bubbling away here already. Hopefully we'll never run out.
2,000.
Breed new dinosaurs and then wait
that was a good
until
purchase.
Transformed into crude oil.
Again with that. Excellent, good. 2,000 is a good starting point. It means if we run the train out here without tapping these, we've got plenty of oil to transport in the short term. Build a bit of a road down here. It's done that weird thing with the textures again. Yep, there we go. I'm not putting up for dodgy textures. No, not happening. Won't happen. Nope. Oh, okay. Ooh. Ew. The landscape is not as forgiving as I might have thought it was. Okay. What if we try and build a dead end one? It's getting worse. Oh god. Oh dear. Oh man, that ain't pretty. That is not. Wow, that's expensive. Okay. Yep. Oh, that's not too bad. It's still a lot of landscaping, a lot of money. I guess there is a lot of oil to be had. Oh well. When we go bankrupt, feel free to remind me of this ill-advised venture, and you can mock me soundly. Now, looking at the hills here, we might be looking at a Mikado for this route too. Bit of a heavy hauler there. I'll bring this one down here. Yeah. So I will connect this up, and we will be right back. Good stuff. Well, here we have the junction just south. I think it's south. Yeah, south of Dallas. So we've set up a couple of cross tracks here. We've double tracked it into Houston just to future-proof it there, because I suspect we'll be running a couple of trains out here. And we've got our station out at, Beaumont Oil Well. Beaumont's all the way over there. Jeez, okay. A bit of a windy route to try and get around the landscape. Couple of ugly corners in there, but I think we can make it work. Now let's build a train on a budget. That probably rules out the Mikado straight away. I'd rather avoid the Mogul. Let's get some oil tankers. How many can we get for the amount of money we've got now?
Good gracious, we're spending money like there's no tomorrow. Just this once, our financial backers are willing to turn a blind eye and help us out once again. But this is definitely the last time.
Okay, so without extending our loan, we can get 6 wagons. So I don't think we've got much of a choice. We'll take their $8 million loan, which we never have to pay back, and build him up to, let's say, 12 wagons. No, actually, let's keep it reasonable. Let's stick it to 10. We forgot to set a line up for him to run on. We'll just steal the ship line that we started to set up and failed miserably with. So you can run from Beaumont North down to the refinery, into the freight terminal, and you won't need to go back via the refinery because you won't be transporting any fuel back. As you know, or should know from watching me play a couple of missions, I don't like sending empty trains down the line, but until we connect up the rest of this line, I think that's going to have to do. So I guess we call you Beaumont Oil Train. And we can always hook up these oil wells by truck anyway to bring in here, and then we will have a separate train running out to Jackson. But I'm getting ahead of myself. We'll put the train on the route and send him on his way. And he has picked a good time to emerge because it looks like he's going to block our other train. Well done. Go team. There's a bit of a grade coming out of that depot there. I tell you what, how there are no rail fans on this bridge I don't know, because if you look, the lighting is perfect and we got 2 freighters within a couple of minutes of each other. Now, with still 6.66 million, the number of the beast, burning a hole in our pockets, we will have a look at one of these other wells here. I reckon we can get that connected up to this terminal reasonably inexpensively. Oh my, that is a very large chunk of our budget gone. Can we make it more cheaper, or less expensive maybe is the word I'm looking for? By doing that, we can. That's good. We've got a bit of a hill on the other side, and the bridge itself has a bit of a bow in it, but I think we can deal. Now we'll just get you to go up and over without too much landscaping. Thank you. No. Yes. 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 No. I thought you had it. There you go. And we'll drop in a truck stop here, and that leaves us 3 million to exploit this well.
Where the black gold is bubbling away here already. Hopefully we'll never run out. Otherwise we'll probably have to breed new dinosaurs.
I did not want to do that.
Eternity until they've transformed into crude oil.
I'm going to blame him for distracting me. Let's just drop down a depot there, and we've got 91 grand left to set some trucks up. Well, while things were ticking along, I have saved up another...
End of the line. It's no use begging and pleading. Our financiers are refusing to put even one more penny into our project. Damn it.
I had saved up $3 million, so I've now tapped Dallas Oil Well number 3. While I was waiting, I have already set the truck route up, so it's just a matter of getting our capital back up again, and we will start a truck route. Now, can I close some of these down? Oh my god, I can. Thank god. They're just, the screen is getting in the way. Something chronic. Look at all the achievements. Yay, I feel very accomplished. Okay, we're a bit in debt. That's okay. We'll have some money soon, and we'll be buying some trucks for this second route. Second route? Subsequent route. Yeah, don't tease me with ships I can't build. Ooh, Hiawatha. Go away. Here we are, I'm proud to say we're back in the black, and the first two of our trucks have started arriving at, what do you call, Dallas Oil Well number 3 to bring the oil down to our train down here at Beaumont Oil Well. Now, as we are indeed back in the black, I'm going to work on extending this line over towards these two Jackson oil wells. My thinking is we have a sort of a terminal down here at this one. We run a truck bringing the oil down to the terminal and bringing the goods back up to Jackson, and then we can also run a truck into New Orleans for the goods, but obviously that will be a far lower priority than getting the oil out of the ground. A potential complication is this big ass mountain range in the way, so yeah, it might have to be a bit of a roundabout route. I'm probably going to bring it out from this line here to try and get across the shallowest part of the mountain. But we'll see how we go, and I'll keep you updated on my results. Okay, so it turns out the train bridge is going to be $5.5 million, so yeah, this may sit on the back burner for a little while. Also, it moves by itself. That's kind of creepy. Well, after a bit of time on hyperspeed, we've amassed enough money to build the bridge and persist with construction. Getting over this hill is going to be a massive pain in the ass. Well, it took a bit of a bow shape up here. I mean, we sort of go whoopity whoopity whoop to get up the hill, and then I sort of lost patience and put a big ass cutting in here. But we've done it. We've connected it up to Lake Charles Oil Well number 2. Yeah, that is a big ass cutting. That was probably not worth the money. So that's something. We've definitely made progress there. Of course, I forgot to connect it up at this end, which is good. So I'll continue by double tracking this section of the line to make sure our trains don't conflict with each other. We've already double tracked the shared section between Dallas and Houston, which is good. Now we just have to tweak this junction here a little bit. Just remove you, drop you in there. What are you complaining about? What are you complaining about the Beaumont oil train? Oh, of course, because I haven't connected it up at this end. Sorry, that's my mistake. There you go, happy days. He is happy now. Probably. I don't really care if he is or not. The main thing is he's not complaining loudly about not making any money. So make you a one-way signal there, and we'll set up some signals on this dual track section, which is probably completely overkill, and less do I care. Now, to try and make life a bit easier on myself, instead of trying to shoehorn the truck terminal in at this end of the station, I just put a second street connection in up here and pop the terminal in there. Should be a simple matter to go down to New Orleans and up to Jackson. Jackson being our first target because obviously it has the second oil well up here that we can add into our system fairly quickly. So I'll get that connected up, and then it's just a matter of saving up enough capital for a train. I tell you what, the delivery of goods to Jackson better make good on my investment, because we're looking at another $1.8 million for another bridge. I don't know why the stupid town hasn't built me one. I mean, come on, I'm bringing them goods. They should be pleased with me. Jerks. Hey, there we go. We can connect that up there. And with our remaining capital, hopefully finish the road. Oop, no, don't want to put cutting in there. That would be silly. No, we can't. It's worth a try. Oh, it shouldn't be too long before we're back in the black again. Only 2 oil wells to tap. That's these 2 up here, and we've got ourselves our first medal of this mission too, which is good. Okay, you know how I said we'd be back in the black soon? I may have... Oh, never mind. No, nothing to panic about. It's fine. It's fine. We'll drop the truck stops down now, and then we just save up our multi-millions for... God, this truck stop's going to be not cheap to build. There we go, it's not too bad. Now, getting in town, we're going to want to capture this commercial district up here. That should be a simple matter. Hopefully we don't have to destroy anyone's business. And we've even captured some of the industrial as well. No. Oh. Well, one of the industrial buildings just got flattened. But we captured the other ones, like specifically those 3, and a couple down there. So, you know, counting that as a win.
The neighboring state, Louisiana, is suffering particularly badly from the weakened economy. The city of New Orleans is struggling to ensure supplies for its residents. The governor of
Sucks to be
Louisiana,
you.
certain Huey Kingfish Long, is therefore asking us for help.
Kingfish.
The man's political ideas may be disastrous, but he's making us an interesting offer. If we guarantee security of supply in New Orleans, he'll grant us the exclusive rights to the offshore oil rig off the coast of Louisiana. That might be worth it.
Well, we were planning on transporting goods into New Orleans anyway, so I'm not going to say no. That managed to interrupt me while I was trying to set up my routes for this and then talk about how we were going to tap this oil well and run a train and this, that and the other, but it's just ruined it all. It's ruined it all. The magic is gone. The magic is dead. So, yeah. So we'll just be running that route between here and Jackson. For now, obviously only transporting goods because we barely have enough to tap the well, let alone build a train, the trucks, and tap this well up here as well. But all in good time, so we'll just call that Jackson Trucking for now because obviously it will transport oil eventually, just not yet. Right, well there's nothing much left to do but tap this well then.
This is where black gold is bubbling away here already. Hopefully we'll never run out. Otherwise we'll probably have to breed new dinosaurs and then wait an eternity until they've transformed into crude oil.
Yeah, everyone laughed like it's the first time you've heard that joke. Good, okay, so we've still got 4.6 million in the bank, one of the benefits of leaving it on hyperspeed. That should get us most of the way towards building a train. So if this train could show up and take its oil, that'd be fantastic. Whereabouts is he? Oh, he's already nicked off. Okay, well that's good. You should be turning a decent profit soon. Yeah, let's see. Ooh, look at all the fuel waiting here. Well, that's got to be a good thing. Yeah, we're really ramping up this mission objective now. Hopefully we can fulfill it before we run out of oil. But yeah, so we'll... are we going to go with the Mikado? I mean, we have the potential to run a far heavier train out there, and we do have the mountains. I'm going to start with the Atlantic and be a bit of a tight ass. You know, just because if we can get away with it, I think it'll be better. Now, that's 164 meters. Oh, we've just scraped in under budget there. And we'll set you up on the Jackson Railroad. And now we'll just buy a couple of trucks up here, and all of the pieces will be in motion. All of the pieces will be in motion. Who says things like that? That doesn't make any sense. All of the pieces will be on the board. Because in the game of chess, you must never let your adversary see your pieces. Now while we're waiting, I'm going to have to connect up this goods terminal here to New Orleans. I'm going to take a slightly more roundabout route to use the existing road bridge, because as Jackson showed us, road bridges are bloody expensive. And as we're starting to run low on oil in San Antonio, and we will soon run low in Dallas, we will be able to use those trucks on our new route, thus keeping costs to a minimum. Now, I know what you're thinking, that truck stop in New Orleans is nowhere near the centre of town and the most lucrative part of the commercial district, but the industrial area up here is all reasonable value, and yeah, I just did not see we had the money to go smashing down buildings that we didn't need to, so I've just dropped it in here, and of course we've captured this commercial area here, so hopefully that will be fine. But we are now up to $6 million, so we can tap this oil well up here.
Black gold is bubbling away here already. Hopefully we'll never run out. Otherwise we'll probably have to breed new dinosaurs and then wait an eternity until they've transformed into crude oil.
Glad that's the last time we have to hear that joke. So yeah, so we'll chuck another couple of trucks on Jackson Trucking, but now that route is, well, it's hopefully reaching fruition because we have oil coming down here to the train terminal, trucks returning back up to Jackson with goods, and then repeating. There we go. We have our first medal, process crude oil from all the wells located on the land. And we will soon be transporting oil from, I'm assuming, the Lake Charles oil drilling rig, apparently. That's a thing that we're going to be using. We got a good amount of oil coming in here. Bit disappointing that only Dallas Oil Well number 3, which happens to be the most out of the way of a lot of them, has got the biggest oil reserves. The rest of them do seem to be a lot lower, unfortunately. I've just built 4 trucks for our New Orleans goods deliveries. I built them up in Jackson just to save having to build a second depot down in New Orleans because I'm a well-renowned tight ass. And now, as I said, we were going to use the trucks from San Antonio once this well here taps out, but looking at the backlog at the port in Houston, I suspect I'll just redirect them down there to assist with that. Well, it's finally happened. San Antonio oil well number 1 is empty, with Dallas oil well number 1 about to follow it. So it's time to start picking up on our trucks on this route and diverting most of them onto the Houston route. We will keep a couple on this route here because it will keep producing 20 oil, which is better than nothing, I guess. Now, as for the trucks in Dallas, we can keep them running along because they are currently serving the oil well that's still pumping. Rather than extending the railway line out for the remainder of that thing's lifespan, we may as well just keep them on this route here where they're doing good work. And we have a bit of a backlog of oil at the train station too, so even after this thing reduces production, we've still got a bit of a backlog to work through, so we shouldn't notice an immediate dip in profits just yet. Speaking of backlogs, we've got a lot of goods and fuel waiting at Houston Halt, which is good. A lot of fuel waiting for the Beaumont oil train to come in and pick it up after unloading its oil. So quite fittingly enough, starting with the San Antonio Railroad, I got there, we have decided to upgrade our trains to chuck some more goods wagons on there. So once he's finished doing his unloading of fuel, he should magically, boof, there we go, into a longer train. So I've gone up to 8 fuel wagons and 8 boxcars on there to ensure we get maximum value for money. There we go, he's for some reason leaving some goods behind. I don't know why, he still has capacity. Oh, that's on you, buddy. You do what you got to do. But that only cost us 5 million, and that was the oldest of our trains, so hopefully the others won't be too bad. Now, something else I'm going to start doing is adding a second train onto this Jackson/New Orleans Railroad up here. We might not actually buy the train just yet, but I'm going to put capacity and a couple of passing loops in here so we can A, make better use of this double track here, and B, it's probably cheaper than trying to double track things like this horrendous bridge and this ridiculous twisty turny route up the mountain there. Now, with an eye on this mission objective or medal here to ensure the journey along the Houston to New Orleans route takes a maximum of 5 minutes, I figure we can use some of this capital we're building up to actually start building our passenger line out there now. Then we can keep ahead of the curve, hopefully finishing the mission on time, and you know, it should make a bit of profit along the way, which will just help further our goals. So we'll build a nice platform out the back of Houston here. Now I'm thinking we're just going to build a big honkin' great bridge right over the top of our oil line here, just to avoid any delays rather than having it merge in and just dick around like that, you know. So let's just see what we can offer in the form of a bridge. Okay, that looks cool. Doesn't like this end of it. There we go. Okay, it's only 776 grand too. I don't hate that. The only thing I don't like is the fact that if we do want to double track it, which we probably will, we won't be able to do much at this end. So I might try and get a bit of an embankment going, just so we can double track it and just have a set of points there. So we'll put a nice ugly embankment in. Actually, let's build the high-speed tracks. Yeah, can we upgrade you to have high-speed tracks as well? Let's just gold plate it. We've got oil money. What do we care? Ooh, concrete sleepers. Luxury. And I bet this is going to cost significantly more if we use the high-speed tracks. 742 grand is not bad. I'm quite okay with it. I'm not okay with the little curve we got going on here. I'd like to keep it straight and narrow, thank you. And that made it cheaper. I really don't see a problem with that. There we go, look at that nice impressive viaduct, fits perfectly in at the junction, and this bloke here is just thinking, where did that bloody bridge come from? It wasn't there 30 seconds ago. The magic of railroads. Now we want to go straight shot down to New Orleans, so I think we'll be going out here, skirting around this mountain and down into town that way. Do we want to have stations on the way to drop people off and bring people into Beaumont? Would make us a bit more money. We'd have to have separate tram systems and everything out there, so yeah, no, I just, if I decide I need it, we can always add them in later with hopefully minimal expense. Now keep this going straight towards the river. Not much landscaping needs to be done either, which is good. So we've got 300 k's an hour available to us. That is some good speed. Now this bridge here isn't going to be cheap, although we can use it to mitigate the grade. Okay, so it's 200 over the bridge there, or 300 if we build the... Yeah, you know what? Let's just spend most of our money on a bloody bridge here. Now, what's straight look like for you? That's not straight. There we go. That's locked it in there. Can you get further up the hill? You can, but that's just going to cost more. Okay. Let's go about there. That seems to be fairly reasonable. Ooh, this is giving me a nice scenic route for our passengers. Assuming I can get the camera in the right spot. Hopefully our train can make it up that hill. And make it up this subsequent hill, which I have forced it to ascend. Okay, so we are going around this mountain, right? That's going to slow our train down a bit, down to about 160. It could be worse, could be worse. Now we're going to drop down through a fairly ugly sort of cutting here. Trying to keep it as straight as possible to keep the speed up. And we're going to have to go over another bloody river, aren't we? Yeah. Wonder if we can skirt around the contours and then hopefully not have too sharp of a corner, because I'm thinking of sort of sending it, probably shouldn't drag the track with me, sort of sending it down on this line here. We might be able to get a bridge over our existing road here and come straight into New Orleans on a straight trajectory here, which will involve... We can't destroy a shorter section of... What happened over there? We can't really destroy a shorter section of road there, so what if we just put the terminal in like this? Too much curvature. Oh, there we go. With a second street connection on the other side to help get more coverage of the town. Oh, yes, look at that. As long as our train remembers to stop and doesn't fling himself through the buffer stops into the city centre. Why did we build that with wooden sleepers? Come on, we're better than this. High-speed track or go home, I say. High-speed track or go home. Okay, so such a bridge is possible. It's just 16.7 million and looks hideous as sin. And it's, let's be honest, it's probably a little bit unnecessary. So I might have to do this manually and a little bit cheaper. Okay, we're looking at about 7.85 million for the bridge that I want now. But that fulfills the objective of going over the road. As long as we don't overload our trucks. We'll have to bodge a little bit of this track out here to get a smooth connection, but hopefully I can do that without losing too much speed. Anyway, engage profit making. There we are, 7.85 million, boom, money spent, can't take it back now. But it is a straight shot right into the station there. Well, I managed to solve the problem with trains spearing off into town in New Orleans. I'll just whack the depot down there. I mean, it's a bit of an eyesore, but you know what? You guys can just deal, can't you? Now, let's look at our train options. We've got the 442 Hiawatha, 160 k's an hour top speed, $1.2 million a year. That sort of expects it to turn a decent profit. It also costs 7.6 million. We would have to electrify, but we have the GG1, which costs even more, looking at about 9 million. Same top speed, but a significant amount more horsepower, so it would have zero problems getting up the hill. The other thing we can build is the Pioneer Zephyr, which is a fixed train set, but it can do 177 k's an hour and costs significantly less to run, and that's 5 million. I don't know if that's for the whole set or what, but I reckon we'll go for the Zephyr unless something better comes out in the meantime. And I just had a bit of a look. That's quite a drop down to the road there. I Really didn't think that through very well, did I? Look at that. And you're going to get air coming into New Orleans at that speed. Oh well, just have to trust in my train drivers. Now, as you can tell from this example, the San Antonio Railroad train, I've just tacked another 4 oil wagons on all of my trains, just to try and help alleviate some of this fuel backlog, as well as the oil backlog at the various loading points. Now, in lieu of building a second train on the Lake Charles / Jackson route, what I'm going to do is when the San Antonio well over here dries up, I will change this over to a new train, a smaller train, predominantly boxcars with a couple of oil wagons, and just run a little bit of a shuttle service, and then send the monster train we've got running here onto that route over that way to try and save a bit of coin there, because there's no point building a new train for this Jackson route here if we're just going to end up scrapping the San Antonio train down the line to replace it with a shorter train. Well, it looks as if Lake Charles oil well over here is about to run dry. When that happens, I will just divert the trucks onto the Dallas oil well number 3 line, which is still doing quite well for itself. Oh, we've got the big boy. How you doing? Now, watching our goods number tick up slowly to New Orleans has prompted me to use some of this capital here to invest in a new train that will just run between the refinery and the port here. So we'll have to expand this station up here, which might be a tricky prospect, but I'm confident we can make it work. Just have to wait for the trains to get out of the bloody way first. When you're ready. So we're going to be looking at 3 tracks here, so we've got a turnaround track. I will have to rebuild this junction too, which hopefully won't be too expensive. That was a fairly simple matter on the face of it. So I'm going to hit the magical pause button and freeze time, and just rejig this junction completely here, maybe even speed up some of the approaches. So let's see, what do we got? This is inbound trains here, so we're going to want to connect up inbound trains on this line with this platform here, and bring that down to join up like that. Good. Now again, we will need to connect inbound trains up from this line over to this no, not the bridge. Okay, this might be trickier than I anticipated, and that is still a really sharp corner, so I don't think I've actually improved things at all. In fact, I've probably made it worse, because now this line has a kink in. You know what? Never mind. We've started. We're going to finish what we started. Now that's the outbound line there, so the outbound line will also need to branch off here and connect up like that. That is an ugly diamond crossing, and boy is that going to complain for a few seconds. Let's just tweak our terminals. That is another change that has happened with this patch I mentioned earlier. When it used to be when you did any sort of work around a station at all, the game would recalculate every line passing through that station. Not anymore. Now it locks in the platforms, which in this case does not work to my advantage, because we're going to need to switch everyone from platform 2 over to platform 3. Thankfully, a fairly simple process. There we are. And that should remove all of our faults. Problem solved. Except for this ugly ass junction. But we're just gonna live with it. It's part of life. It's nature. Nature is ugly. Those points are particularly sharp. I can't see our trains taking them at a particularly rapid pace, but what are you gonna do? Yeah, that should be fine. That should work nicely. Now, the other end, we've already got the double slip points in here from the depot, so trains can come in this way, cross over into the middle terminal, and then come back out again. So yeah, once we get the ship going, he will be bringing crude oil in here. We'll load crude oil onto a special train to run up here, and then run fuel back again here, which will also hopefully alleviate some of the backlog of fuel we got going, and get us towards that wonderful mission objective. So there's a lot of guff in the way, but that's going to work, and we'll call that the Houston Fuel Oil Shuttle. Hey, we might get to use that diesel shunter after all. I refuse to call it a switcher. Well, while we're waiting to make a decision there, we may as well build our passenger train and then some connecting services to bring passengers out to the stations. So heading over to the depot in New Orleans, let's see what 5.08 million gets us. Oh, gets us a 4-carriage train. Okay, that's not too bad. It's a heck of a lot cheaper than we get if we bought the Hiawatha, and it's 1.12 million carriages. Not 1.12 million carriages, $1.12 million value carriages. Got to spell it out sometimes. You are the express train, and if we need to run more than one train, I guess we can throw in a second track. Ooh, aren't you a pretty looking thing? You're also not much of a hurry, which is kind of ironic considering you're a high-speed bloody train. You're very shiny. Oh, look at its funny little bogies. Oh, I like the observation car at the back too. That's seriously, the steam train puts out less smoke than you do. Yeah, good for you. But while we're waiting for everything to sort of line up, as far as the goods go at least, we'll set up a bit of a feeder service in Houston, or feeder service or two. It's quite a large town. Let's build a bus or tram station. You know what, let's go with trams. Trams are cool. I like trams. Now we'll set up our first tram route through Houston like that. And then back the way you came, please. Now what did we decide that was? That was west. So we'll call that Houston West. Makes sense. And out of the trams, interchange around this way. And we'll call this one, you guessed it, Houston East. Did not take a rocket surgeon to figure that out. Now, what trams do we have available? We have the Peter Witt streetcar that we used in the other mission, with a solid capacity of 11, or 14. Well, this is the President's Conference Committee streetcar design. They had 666 on 68 routes. Well, see, that's just a lost opportunity for a dirty joke there. Also, the number of the beast again. I'm detecting a theme here. So shall we say 4 trams on each? I think we shall. And if you say otherwise, well, you do it yourself then, I don't care. We'll set up a similar route in New Orleans as well. This one might have to be buses, given we're going to have 2 interchanges for the station. Unless we sort of run one big monster tram route around town. Yeah, you know what? Let's do that. Let's do that. I like trams. I'm feeling the trams. Feeling the trams. Trams are good. Trams are feeling good. Trams are feeling me. Not physically. That'd be weird. All the way through New Orleans and back again. Whoop. It's getting in the way of its own route construction. We'll call that the New Orleans City Circle. It's sort of a circle. It's sort of an oval with a bit missing. Sort of like the Pac-Man. Yeah, the Pac-Man character. So we'll go with 8. Let's spend the money. New Orleans, you deserve it. And off go our trams. Ding ding. And look, here comes one of our trucks too, with a massive load of bugger all. Well done. Oh, there we go. I did not realise we were working towards that medal. I was just riding along on our new train and admiring the scenery. We have now imported at least 6,000 goods via the port in Houston. And it appears as if our new train service is a roaring success already. 95 people waiting at New Orleans to make the trip over to Houston. Good thing the train is now arriving. What sort of capacity do you have? 52. That might be a problem. Let's just price out replacing you with the Hiawatha for more capacity. What are we looking at? Yeah, that's going to cost 15 million. I have 15 million. Oh, okay, no, it's only going to cost 10 million. Never mind. Well, there we go. The Zephyr, you had a good run, but you are just a short-ass train, and you're not going to be viable.
We've saved the starving swamp of the Mississippi Delta from the worst, and the governor is keeping his promise. We've been given permission to exploit the offshore oil rig.
Seriously, dude, you just keep interrupting me. Well, rest in peace, Zephyr train. You've had a good run, but soon you will be replaced with a gleaming new steam engine. In the meantime, it is time to start tapping this oil well. Oh, we're emerging. Let's see if we can avoid whacking our mast on the door. Nope. The important thing is we didn't even try. Okay, well, someone had beans for dinner. Well, off you go. Go forth and go fetch some oil from out there and bring it in here. We'll see how he goes. For now, we will let the oil transit up on the existing trains, because see, he's leaving pretty much empty of fuel. So we might not actually need this shuttle service that we uglified this junction for. Ooh, look at the backlog trying to get into the refinery. Yeehaw! In fact, this has prompted me to rejig the junction yet again. What do you mean connect? How am I going to connect that to the street network? It's literally in the middle of the ocean. Could you just... okay, just be cool. So what I'm thinking is we will put a second through track in here and then divert some of the traffic from this far busier line than the San Antonio line onto the middle track there instead, to try and alleviate the pressure. So we will connect this up here like that, and then we should be able to connect you up like that. There we go. So now we can... no, I don't want that open. I pushed the wrong button, clearly. We'll throw a signal down here to replace this signal, which we don't need anymore. Yes, toot toot. And we will have to divert some of our trains. Oh god, what a mess. Let's see, we've got the Beaumont, the San Antonio, the Dallas and the Jackson all using one platform. Well, the Jackson's about to have a second train, so we'll switch you over to platform 2. We probably won't end up building the shuttle if this is successful. We'll see how much oil the Vandal brings in. We might still need it. The San Antonio, he needs to use platform number 3. That's fine. We'll keep the Dallas coming into number 3 because that's one train. And the Beaumont will send through number 2 as well. Just to try and better distribute our trains through the terminal. See, there you go, it's helping already. You're welcome, Beaumont Oil Train. Now, how's the backlog going at San Antonio? We're just waiting for one more run of that train before we can replace it with a primarily goods train. Yes, this new passenger train is proving to be very popular. Where's our train out at the moment? There he is. Let's have a look. Oh, he's steaming along nicely. That's a funny looking thing, isn't it? It's got a funny little target on the nose, and I probably could have built more carriages for it. I can't even remember how long I built that platform. Capacity of 126, and we have 112 waiting. Yeah, we're probably just going to need a second train. But cross that bridge when we come to it. Get it? Because there's a big expensive bridge here. No, never mind. So a new idea has sprung to mind. Now, we just had that new diesel developed. Train 1, I think I'll just downgrade it. I think I'll just sell off some of the excess wagons so he's not costing as much money shuttling back and forth. He served us well, but he is... okay, he's only 3 years old, never mind. I was going to say he's getting on in years, but of course I've upgraded him a couple of times to keep him new, keep him cheap, and give him more wagons. So yeah, we'll sell off some of the excess oil wagons that we no longer need, and he's really not running at capacity with goods either, so... once he's reduced this backlog down, we'll flog off a couple of wagons, but that means it's new train time. So let's try the Alco PA. P stood for passenger. Right, okay, that's a passenger engine. 2,200 horsepower for 4.49 million. Ooh, 188 k's an hour, that's faster than the steam train. Might be worth looking at. What are we looking at here? Well, Mikado's 2.85 for 1,500. That's only 80. The Atlantic is 100, but only 950. Yeah, you know what? Even though it is a passenger engine, the diesel's still looking like a pretty good deal. So let's buy one of those. Let's tack on some oil wagons. Oh, we can buy a PA and a PB with a booster unit. You know what? I don't think we'll need the extra horsepower. I think we'll be okay. And we've got a new boxcar available. tack on a couple more oil wagons onto the back. There we go, and we will send him out on the Jackson Railroad service. And actually, I wonder if it's worth just upgrading both trains to have a diesel leading them. Check on a few more tank cars. One too many. Yeah, we'll upgrade both the Jackson trains to be a diesel. Getting rid of that poor old Atlantic once and for all. What are you? Oh, you're train number 1. Okay, you're the one that's going to lose some wagons shortly. Yeah, let's price in upgrading our express train yet again. If we swap out the Hiawatha, what do we want to do? We want to replacement. Yeah, if we swap the Hiawatha out for the Alco PA, now we don't want to put it on the back. Let's just start again. Replacement vehicle, Alco PA, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What's that going to cost me? 4.27. Yeah, I can afford it. Faster train, more money, blah, 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 blah. Look at me, I got money coming out of places where money shouldn't be coming out of. Well, so we, just like the Zephyr before it, we will bid farewell to our short-lived train on the express route, the steam engine. And I just realised he has way more carriages than I built for the diesel, so it's probably time to consider getting a second train. Is that... Oh, hello. Sorry, I didn't mean to click on you. It is making a mighty profit, though. And turn into a diesel. Poof. Go on. Do it. Do it. Do it. Do it. There we go. So, slightly shorter train. Still has capacity of 90, though, which means we'll probably only leave a few people behind. Yeah, only left about 18 behind, and that's only because they got to the station after the train was leaving, so that's really their fault. That's not my problem. And typical Alco, more exhaust than a steam engine. With the mighty bridge from Houston to New Orleans dominating the background, we've got one of our diesel-hauled freights sitting on the platform at the oil refinery. In the background, the train from San Antonio is pulling in, and it looks like we've got the Dallas train also waiting for a platform. Now I have downgraded the San Antonio train. You will see what happens when he arrives at the platform as the diesel train pulls away. Hopefully he doesn't block the view too much. Look at that cloud of exhaust. The venerable Atlantic has served us well, but it is time to downsize. Excuse me, your wagons are in the way. That's better. And we're in the clear. So yeah, we've gone for a slightly shorter train. We actually didn't have to spend too much money on that. So he's down to 4 tank cars and 4 box vans just to transport between San Antonio and Houston, which it's probably still overkill, but you know what, it looks cool, so let's just leave it at that. Well, there we go. I've now double tracked the route between Houston and New Orleans. I didn't have to put the track in here, but I just did to make it look cool. I'm assuming that's where we park the trains when they're not being used. So we've now got double track all the way right across, except for this bridge here where it got a bit thingy about the road going under it, so I had to leave that single track. But we've set the signals up so that shouldn't be too much of an impediment, and I just put a double track section in here to try and minimise delays. So without further ado, I meant to say, I'll just put a little siding in here. Let's grab a second train for this corridor to continue printing money. What do we put? 5 passenger cars on the first, I think? Yeah, whatever. Off you go. We are starting to run low on oil though, but that's good because we're getting closer and closer to our objective. Look, I think I will set up that shuttle to try and help. It'll also help move the fuel down to the port. So we'll buy one of our little shunters and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 wagons. That should be enough. And we'll chuck him out on the Houston fuel oil shuttle line. Let's watch him come out of the depot as we've got one of our other trains passing. Try and help him come out. We'll just pop a signal down there. Oh, that did not go well for that other train. I made it completely disappear. Sorry about that. Just keep rebuilding, please. Well, most of it rebuilt. Is that thing too long for the platform? It looks like it's a wagon too long for the platform. That could be a concern. Yeah, it's a couple of wagons too long for the platform. That's my bad. But anyway, here we go. We have our little switching... I said it. I said it. I regret it immediately. Our shunting unit coming in here with his train of tank cars. And he is immediately proving popular with the fuel absolutely pouring in, no pun intended, to the new service. So that's good. This just occurred to me, it seems I've built the wrong carriages for our train. He's got a top speed of 188. The streamlined coach has a top speed of only 150. But the heavyweight parlour car, which is more expensive and slightly older, has a top speed of 180. So I might just switch the carriages over on those passenger trains. And of course, wouldn't you know it, just after I upgrade my carriages, the All-America Golden Sand carriage is invented. And what's the bet that has a reasonable high speed? 180 k's an hour. Of course it does. Well, I guess we'll be saying farewell to our funny looking vintage passenger train because it will be getting upgraded yet again. A new oil tanker was also recently invented called, you can probably guess, the Viola. Either way, it's not whacking its mast on the depot as it comes out, so it's already a winner in my book. But it seems the Vandal is already struggling to keep up with the oil well, as he's left 91 oil behind and he's only barely even halfway through his journey to the port. So more oil means more fuel, which means more for our little shunting train to carry, who is bravely struggling up the hill. Now I noticed our poor old passenger train is labouring somewhat to get up the hill. I mean, the track has a speed of about 300 k's an hour and he seems to be capping out at 111 when the carriages are good for 180. So I've put in place an upgrade to get that B unit after all. Hopefully that will help us make the route quicker without having to just tunnel through the bloody mountain, because that's my next idea. Here we can see one of our newly upgraded passenger trains arriving into New Orleans. Also, people having just gotten off the one ahead of him, flooding over to the tram stop. So it appears as if both the train and the tram are a rousing success. And while I was yakking, we lost sight of the engines. But he's not doing too bad for a second fiddle train. He is losing money, but hopefully we can get him to space out a little bit and, you know, not follow the other one so closely.
Excellent! Fuel production is in full swing. The good old steam engine has had its day. Mighty diesel trains need to be moved.
What's a diesel train?
Of us to enter the fuel
Diesel
business. Time to convince the population of the benefits of modern trains. That's not going to be easy, however. The train isn't exactly the attractive option here right now. Anyone wanting to travel long distances takes the intercity bus. But we can change that. If we can offer a fast enough train service, we'll be able to encourage people to travel by train. Cha-ching!
Cha-ching! Right, okay, so connect Houston and New Orleans, way ahead of you, champion. Ensure that an average journey time of less than 360 seconds and a frequency of less than 180 seconds are achieved. Wow, that's unrealistic even for this game. 180 second frequency, Houston and New Orleans. That's like a train every, what, 3 minutes. Okay, well, it's not my money. It's all fictional. So, let's get ourselves another couple of trains on this route, I guess, because they're kind of following each other and that's not really good for keeping the speed up. Yeah, okay, so they're picking their speed up slowly, even with the extra engines, but yeah, it wouldn't hurt to have another couple of trains to really get that frequency up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Off you go. Did I just build the single model? I wanted to build the one with the pair. Let's have a look. Yeah, I built the single one. That's my mistake. Thankfully, we have a upgrade program already in play. So this time we'll buy the correct one. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we'll send him on the way too. I realise they will just bunch up again, but, well, we've already got them bunched up, so what are you going to do? Now, let's hope we can get these journey times completed and swing in with this Yeah, okay, thank you. Swing in for this this medal here. We should quite easily get investment because no way are we going to have 75 million by the end of the game. All that's left is to finish before 1955 for a clean sweep. 308 seconds. What's 308 seconds as opposed to 5 minutes? I don't know how to do maths. Someone get me a calculator. Hold on, I have a calculator on my phone. 308 divided by 60 is 5.13. Damn. We may have to build that tunnel after all. Yeah, let's just... You know what? Let's just cut straight through the mountain here. Just no penny pinching. Oh, okay, well that was a complete waste of money. Because we just got the medal. So... Yeah, you know what? Let's just finish what we started now. Anyway. Because, well, we're sort of committed, aren't we? I'll just hit the pause button here. And we will just sort of... Just connect this up and pretend like we meant to do that the whole time. Everything going according to plan. Completely 100% according to plan. Right, you're going to keep going. We can't bulldoze your track until you're off it. So warp speed. Just bodge this back here a bit to give a better curve. Yeah, I know there's problems because the line's not connected. We're just waiting for that train to get out of the road. There we go. And we will connect you up like that. And you up like... No, connect up. There we go. See? Problem solved. Train 9. What's your problem? No path. Well, you'll have a path once I hit play. See? Problem solved. Yes, toot. Toot, toot, toot. We'll probably put in a few new signals to help space the trains out a bit. So frequency 370 seconds, frequency less than 180. Okay, so we need to get the frequency up with more trains. Hopefully the frequency will be helped by the fact that we've just built these this tunnel, making the actual route shorter. And if we can get a couple of signals in the tunnel, that will help the trains follow closely together to keep our frequency up as well. I'll just sort of abandon the track that we were using earlier as a testament to unnecessary hill climbing when we could have just burrowed straight through the bloody mountain. So we just got to get that frequency down, and then we will have completed the next stage of the mission.
Finally, the crisis is over. The people have everything they need, and even everything they don't need, and still they yearn for even more. This is really good for business.
I guess we got the frequency down by ourselves. And look at that, another 5 medal haul. We finished before 1955. Certainly didn't go over 75 million, and obviously you saw the others. Well, that'll just about wrap it up for this part here. Next week we will move on to the final mission, which is called Space Race. I'm pretty sure it's about starting a cotton candy empire. But yeah, until then, thank you for joining me. Thanks for watching. If you like the video, please make sure to hit the dislike button. And yeah, I'll see you next week. Bye.